welcome. I see there are 5 of you tuned in. Thank you for joining me and Pigeon. If you joined early and are foam rolling, feel free to continue to do so through this intro. You might also use this time to get further set up. I will not be playing any music, but you are welcome to play some in your own space. And then you might also use this time to gather some more props. Having some soft cushion, whether it's a blanket or a yoga mat, is very helpful. Other soft, flexible props like throw blankets or towels. And then some soft, thicker props such as couch pillows. And then some stiffer props. I've got yoga blocks and a foam roller, but books or Tupperware also works well. The benefit of doing this practice on YouTube Live is that we can be having this shared experience together, yet without being able to see each other, we can't be tempted to compare or judge ourselves or each other. We will begin with a short movement flow, followed by a seated meditation, and then tonight we'll be doing 4 yin postures before final relaxation. During this time, there is no right position or correct alignment because we won't be adding any force and there's no progression goal. This is entirely a time for you to be wherever your body is at now. I will suggest several setups for each posture, starting without any props or minimal props, and then progressing to more complicated setups with more props. Once I'm done with the demonstration, I will come out of the posture to watch the time while you stay in each position for 2 to 3 minutes. Whatever position you land in, it should feel safe to release all effort, all muscular holding, that you can be completely passive and experience subtle sensations. This is a practice of patience, of stillness, and of subtlety. Let's begin. For our first flow, we're going to have a wide-legged stance, sitting on the ground. You can have the legs completely straight or bent, whatever feels best for you. We're going to reach the arms up long and tall, and then begin some gentle circles. So I'm going to reach over towards one toe, sweep down towards the middle, over towards the other foot, up and back, reaching in big circles, breathing throughout, moving at your own pace. And then maybe even adjusting where the legs are, narrower or wider, straighter or more bent. And then switching directions. You might choose to pause at certain spots within the circle, or you might choose to make the flow a little faster. Release the arms, do some shoulder rolls, and some circles with your neck. And then we're going to lie down on your back, and I'm just going to clear some of my props out of the way slightly. Adjust this one for my back. And align my back with my feet bent, my legs bent, my feet flat on the floor. And then I'm going to lift my hips by engaging my glutes and back and hamstrings, lifting hips high. I'm going to take my right arm, reach it overhead, and then twist towards my left, placing my palm towards the ground, and then possibly reaching further out. And then coming back down to the ground with both hand and hip. Raising hips off the ground, reaching my left arm up, and then twisting towards my right, placing my palm towards the ground and possibly stretching it out. Hips reaching high, getting a torso twist, coming back towards the ground. So engaging the back of your body, and then getting a twist throughout the torso and shoulders, going as far as feels good for you, keeping the hips as high as you can. And then moving at your own pace, you might invite a breath flow. Exhaling here. Inhaling to lift and expand and twist. Exhaling to relax and sink into the floor. Inhaling, lifting, expanding, twisting. Exhaling, relaxing, releasing into the floor. Continuing at your own pace. And then after another breath or two, coming back to a neutral position. Perhaps hugging the knees in towards your chest. Perhaps rocking side to side. Before rolling to your side and coming up to seated. We're going to gently transition to a seated meditation. For the meditation, we want this to be as comfortable as possible while being upright. So sitting in a chair is a perfectly good option. If there's a chair nearby, feel free to just move over to it. Sitting on the floor, you can sit cross-legged. You can sit with your legs out in front of you or folded back. In all of those cases, sitting with your hips supported or padding underneath your body wherever you're making contact with the ground can make it more comfortable. In this case, I'm just going to actually slide my foam roller underneath my hips. But again, however you're seated, having your hips propped or choosing to prop underneath anywhere that's going to give you a little extra support and make you more comfortable. So, now that we've had a chance to figure out how you want to be seated for our meditation, you can have palms down, palms up, or clasped in your lap. Eyes closed or a soft, steady gaze on the floor in front of you. And taking this time to re-arrive in this space at this time. awareness to your breath without making any conscious changes. Notice its sensation, its rhythm, its movement. Now on the inhale, feel your belly soften and allow air to flood into your belly. On the exhale, feel your abdomen draw in and compress the air out. Inhales where your belly releases and relaxes. Exhales, abdomen tightens, compresses. Imagine the inhales moving not just down into the lower part of your abdomen and your belly, but into your back, into your ribs at your side, out towards your arms, into your shoulder blades. Inhales that expand deep down towards your tailbone and your pelvis, and then all the way up into your collarbones. And then each exhale, air escapes, falling out of you, and ends with abdomen compressing. And then gently allow your breath to return to a natural, regular rhythm without any effort. Anytime there is distraction from on my side of the camera, or in your environment, or from within you, observe and then come back to your breath. Take a couple finishing breaths. And when you're ready, nodding your chin towards your chest. And then opening your eyes and taking whatever movement calls to you. Could be some side bends, some twists, moving in the legs, standing, folding. Could come to hands and knees and do some downward dog. As you take these movements coming out of the meditation, preparing for our yin postures, I want to take a moment and acknowledge that this yin practice within itself is not a balanced routine. It is meant to bring you into balance, but the practice itself is on one end of the energy spectrum. It is deeply relaxing, passive, meditative in mind and body. It is meant to balance high energy, intensity, both in body and mind. And that might be coming from an athletic training, pursuing athletic goals in your body, strengthening, or it might come in your mind from daily stress, from work, from the news. This is meant to balance that, but the practice itself is all on this relaxed end of the spectrum where we find passive places of being. Our first yin posture is going to be lying on our back, and this is one where we need props. So place them within easy reach of yourself. I'm just hoping some. For this posture, I'm actually going to slide my mat towards my heels. I'm going to be lying on my back. And I'm going to be prepared to lift my hips. And I'm going to lift my hips and then place something underneath my tailbone, underneath my sacrum, not your back, but underneath your tailbone. And then at just a low setting, and it could even just be grabbing a cushion, right, or another blanket, and then I'm going to extend my legs out. And I might have them just be softly bent or completely straight. And this in a very low setting, either just under a folded towel or a pillow might be enough. Or you might choose a larger object. Or you might come up quite high. There is no benefit of striving for more height. What we want is to find any place where you feel lines of gentle fascial tension through the front of your body, possibly from the toes, shins, throughout the knees, in through the quads, up through the hip flexors, into the abdomen. And then depending on where you put your arms, if you put your arms down by your hips, then it won't involve the chest as much. If you move the arms up overhead or just out towards the sides in sort of a goalpost or scarecrow fashion, or reaching up, you might get some opening in the chest. So choosing, oops, there's a cat, where you put your arms, wherever that's a relaxed, open front of body position. You might fiddle around with your props, with where you put your arms, with how bent or straight your legs are, with how narrow or wide your legs are. And then let go of fidgeting and trust your body. Allow yourself to settle. As you sink into the stillness, looking for places where you can let go of more tension, where you can soften. It is normal to feel resistance and effort creep back in. Allow yourself to observe these feelings and come back to your breath. Begin to gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Letting your breath become the first active movement. Noticing how your breath changes the sensations in your body.
arms and legs. Bend your knees, feet solidly flat on the floor, and very gently squeeze those glute muscles together. Press your feet into the floor to lift your hips, gently removing the prop from underneath you, lowering gently and slowly. And then you might choose to simply stay in this position, allow your body to notice the subtle changes, or you might need some counter poses, so you might choose to hug the knees tightly to your chest, or swish the knees side to side, or stretch the legs up. Taking any movement or stillness that calls to you, that feels good, feels restorative. Our next posture is also going to be on your back. Lying on your back with, again, the knees bent, feet flat on the floor, I'm going to cross my right leg over my left and then twist and then allow my knees to drop to the left, twisting my torso. Now, lots of options here before I even add props. So right now I have a deep twist or deep cross with my knees nearly on top of each other, and I begin the twist with my foot still on the floor. I could also have a cross that was very loose and still leave my foot flat on the floor. Or I could take either the tight cross or the loose cross, but bring my legs closer to my torso and twist. I could also opt to have my legs further away from my torso, kicking my foot out further, and having the twist be shallower. And again, I can do that with that tight cross or the loose cross. With a legs further away and a loose cross, ankle over knee, I get more into the hips and less into the torso. So lots of different options simply in how you move the legs. And then of course I might choose to support under my knees, under my ankles. And you might choose different positions for your arms or your head. And again, you might also choose to prop underneath an arm or your head. So setting up your twist, looking for sensations, gentle sensations of length, of line, of stretch through the outer hips and through the torso and possibly into the chest and arms. As you settle in, feeling safe and supported to let go of any protective holding and tension, muscular engagement.
hang in space. And you might notice that the sensations shift and change. What started out intense may fade, and then new sensations might arise. There is no need to chase or strive for anything in particular. Simply observe the internal landscape. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath, feeling your breath move in your body. And then using these breaths to help you gently come out, one piece at a time, perhaps just bringing your head back to neutral, your arms, gently unwinding your legs, and then taking a nice easy transition. No rush to the other side. You might choose to simply lie in a neutral position, or you might choose more active counter movements, stretching legs up, maybe coming back into a bridge, lifting hips high. Anything that you feel like you need, allowing your body to just guide you.
then as we begin to set up the other side, just run through a couple of the options again. Lying on your back with feet flat on the floor, twisting or crossing left over right, and then letting the knees fall to the right. And you have an option of tightly crossing the legs or loosely crossing the legs. And with either of those options, you have the choice to keep the foot anchored to the floor as a pivot point, or to bring the foot off the ground and bring the legs closer to your chest before rotating, or further away. And then of course options of where to put your head and arms. And then supporting yourself with your props. If your body is in a position that is not supported enough, in which the stretch is too intense, your muscles will naturally protect yourself by engaging and holding on to that strength to protect you from going too far and straining. We want to find enough support that your muscles can release so that you can find new space, new length, new openness. And as you fidget on this side, remember it does not need to look like the first side. It is okay and necessary that it will look different. Now I'm settling in, letting go of fidgeting and fussing, adjusting. It is normal and natural to want to fidget and fuss. This is a practice where you notice how much you can let go, what is actually necessary, what sensations simply are distracting or mildly uncomfortable or simply unfamiliar. Allow yourself to not respond. Trust your body. Trust your body that it still holds together without any effort or trying or force.
opening and deepening your breath. And then using these breaths to help you unwind and come out one piece at a time, no rush. Your head, your arms, your legs. Taking the transition that you need. You're going to come off of your back for our next yin posture. So as you transition, as you lift and stretch or settle, make your way to seated up. For this next posture, you're definitely going to want some padding underneath your knees. So I'm just going to leave my mat underneath my knees. And then without any other props, I would simply extend my arms out, and I'm going to have my hips close to over my knees, because what I'm looking for is a long line of fascial stretch from my palms through my arms into my shoulders, chest, ribs, and abdomen. So if I sit my hips back, generally the stretch shifts into the glutes and back. So I want to shift my hips forward until I can be in an arch with my spine and my shoulders. Now, for many, this is, without any props, is not enough support. So a couple of options is to put something underneath the chest and to let the forehead rest, and I might put something underneath my forehead as opposed to having my spine extend even further by having my chin on the ground. I might allow my elbows to bend, or a wider spread of the arms as opposed to narrower. Feel free to prop underneath the chest or shift slightly front forward to back to find a good place for you. For others, another option is to raise the arms. This generally makes things a deeper movement, but you may just experiment to find what feels good for you. And in this case, I could let my forehead hang, right? But if it feels good to have the arms up, but the neck needs to be in more neutral, you can simply prop the forehead or the chin. And of course, as you fidget, as you adjust and experiment, invent other ways to prop that feel comfortable, that allow you to feel that gentle, long line of opening in the front of your body. wherever you feel tension, whether it is in the front of your body, or in your fingers, or your feet, or your jaw. Allow yourself to come back to your breath. Give yourself permission to let go of effort. Gently lengthen and deepen the breath. And then be very gradual in coming out of this position. Perhaps bending the arms gently to begin with. Sitting the hips back, just inching yourself back towards your heels. And then perhaps bringing the arms towards your chest or hands towards your feet. And then gently allowing yourself to find any position, any transition. You might choose to simply lie on your belly, or you might choose to do some cat and cow spine rotations. Or you might choose something more active, such as a downward dog. Pedaling out the feet, twisting through the shoulders, reaching the legs up. For our last yin posture, I'm going to demonstrate without any props, but then I will be using my usual props, but also my bookshelf, or you might also use anything sturdy that you might be able to lean against. So we are going to do a deep squat, so feet on the ground, hips sitting back. You just want to allow the head to hang, the spine to round. You might choose feet together, the arms on the outside, or a very wide stance with toes angled out and arms and head on the inside. So one thing in this squat is oftentimes people feel like they're either going to fall forwards or fall backwards. So I might use, in this case, my bookshelf to just lean my butt back and hips and butt back towards it so that I don't feel like I'm going to tip over backwards. Or I might come forward and lean up against it in front, protecting me from falling forward. Other options, you might need to prop underneath the heels.
You might choose to prop underneath the hips. You might also choose to prop underneath the forehead. So as you experiment with different setups, we're looking for long lines of stretch through the sole of the foot, the back of the ankle, through the glutes. You might feel something in the top of the knees, but mostly in the back of the body, along the spine, all the way up behind the neck, and possibly even into the brow line as you allow your head to hang. It sort of depends on how you set yourself up, where the emphasis is. But whatever you do, we want long lines. It should never be in a single point. It should never be intense in a single point. We want long, diffuse, gentle sensations of opening. Settling in to savor the stillness, where there is nothing to do, letting your breath be enough. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Coming out of the posture gently and slowly. And then taking any movement that calls to you, side bends, twists, downward dogs. making your way onto your back, you might choose to prop underneath the knees. You might unfold one of your towels or blankets if your pet isn't taking them up and wrap them around you as a blanket or cover your eyes or put a pillow underneath your head. And allowing yourself this time in complete relaxation. Body 100% supported. Everything at ease. Deepening your breath. Reintroducing movement, perhaps rolling wrists and ankles, wiggling fingers and toes. Perhaps stretching out long and big before curling tight into a ball. Rolling to your side. Using your arms to help you sit up. We'll conclude with 3 breaths together. Inhale through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, one more. Thank you. It was wonderful to share this experience with 5 of you. If you have any questions or feedback, I'd be happy to hear that. You can do it in the chat function of this live stream. You can also email me, Kym, Kym, @zested.net. You can visit our website to join our mailing list or follow us on Instagram or Facebook. And then if you value this program, this service, please share it with friends, with family, on any platform, and we welcome donations. You can send donations to paypal.me/zested. Thank you. Have a peaceful night.